What is a true piece of advice that no one wants to hear? It may not be your fault, but it's your responsibility. The joy of work. It's not your fault it happened. It's your responsibility to make sure it doesn't happen again. You don't have the authority to implement any changes to stop it happening. Just because they are family doesn't mean they deserve to be in your life. Family members most commonly the ones to be abusive to you. People don't know how to handle it because they're always taught that since their abusers are family they should be forgiven, which really damages their perception of what they think is abusive. There will be some people who just will not like you. There's nothing you can do about it. Don't take it personally and move on. And there are some people who will just rub you the wrong way. This doesn't mean either you or them is a bad person. You just don't have compatible personality types. You know, one of the reasons why 50 Shades of Grey became a worldwide bestseller while the book you've been toiling over for the better part of a decade is destined to die in obscurity? Because E.L. James actually finished the ducking thing. No one wants to read the first third of a novel, no matter how good it might be. Suck it up and finish your damn projects. And have other people steal the credit? I think not. Everyone thinks they want the truth. But most people want the truth to fit their worldview, be honest. But know that it has a price. Rather than a price, I would say it has consequences. And those consequences can be both good and bad. For girls, dating bad boys is not a good idea. It's a polite word for shitty relationship. For boys, most girls do like nice guys. But maybe you're not as nice as you think. You aren't supposed to be beaming with happiness every second of every day. Some days, you're going to be down and it doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. But, if you think you are depressed, the hard truth is you have to put in effort to get better. No, eating an apple and going to the gym once won't make things better automatically. You need to build momentum. You need to make little changes here and there that will eventually add up. But there is no quick cure. There is no flip switch. Yes. Getting out of bed is hard, but you have to do it. No one can just make you do it. Stop passing the buck and start being responsible for yourself. Who you are on the inside means jack shit if that person is not reflected in your actions. Your actions are all that matters to the world and everyone around you, and your intentions are worthless if they don't lead to you performing said actions. Does not matter in what facet of life. This is always true. You are what you do. It's not who you are underneath. It's what you do that defines you. Batman Begins. Just say no. Maybe it will make you / someone else uncomfortable for a sec. But you have the right to say no to people. Shitty people do not change unless there's something deeply and profoundly in it for them. And even then, they still may decide that being shitty is more valuable. This is especially true of abusive partners. YTF would they stop abusing you when abusing you gets them everything they want? Edit. Also, being smart is not all it takes to succeed in the world, and in fact I would say it's a tiny fraction of what you need. Paying now is almost always cheaper than paying later. Oh, this is huge. If you would be fine financially putting down 33% on a car instead of 30% even. Every little bit helps save you money down the road. Nobody wants to listen to your podcast. I work in marketing and every month somebody from another department comes to us with the idea to start a podcast. Some of them actually did. 0 have been remotely successful. They seem to miss the part where you have to create entertaining content. Your podcast has to be so good that people want to listen to it more than they want to watch The Office or something. Being able to purchase something and being able to afford something are two totally different concepts. The former does not imply the latter. What do you mean? If I spread my car payments over 120 months, I can afford that new BMW X5. Sarcasm obviously. File your tax returns and pay your damn taxes. Getting flagged by the state government is worse than any credit card company, university or hospital. Stop giving people who cheated on you a second chance. It may be worth it if the person is your partner for like 8 years, but if you have been together for 4 months and they cheated, it's always more difficult in your head. Not always. Sometimes it's the opposite. Sometimes you have to look in the mirror and realize you're the problem. If everyone has the same issue with you, then it's probably just you and you should stop blaming everyone else. If someone is making you miserable, you need to tell them. If they don't care, you need to cut them out of your life. Life's too short to let people treat you badly. Edit. To the folks in the comments. It's supposed to be what you don't want to hear. The fact that this upsets you is my point. I did this months ago and felt guilty. I just didn't enjoy that person's company anymore. But the relief that followed was priceless. Stop obsessing about that person. They are clearly not that into you. My friend is obsessed with a guy who she barely knows. He just says hi to her at church. She saw him at a concert making out with his girlfriend and she lost it. Couldn't function for days. She said how he's a total piece of shit. How he used her, etc. He never gave her any signals. Doesn't even know her name. She just made up a story in her head. 3 years later she's still obsessing about her lost love and sometimes says he's totally into me. He was so nervous when saying hi today. He wants me. Most people don't really care about your feelings. Or you at all really. Only how you make them feel. You can't help people who don't want to be helped. This goes for friends, family, relationships, yourself. I want to edit for clarification. There is a big difference between giving someone a dose of Narcan to stop a heroin overdose and helping them end their addiction. The latter they have to want to do. You can't change someone who doesn't want to change. I like that quote that floats around on Reddit every once in a while from a teacher to their students. All of you have a little bit of I want to save the world in them. That's where you're here in college. I want you to know that in your entire life it's okay if you only save one person. And it's okay if that person is you. If you want to feel like you're not dying when you walk upstairs or even just getting up, toss those cigarettes and move more. You can't afford that. I can. If I have a structured settlement. Stop complaining about being overweight and start doing something about it. Stop complaining about being overweight and start doing something about it. Think this applies to a lot of situations. She doesn't love you. Time to move on. I just got out of a somewhat bad relationship. Whenever I told my ex I love you, he replied, "Thank you, Dart." Sometimes when we fought he asked me why we were still together. I answered, "Because I love you." He always told me that's not enough. I thought he meant that love was not enough to build a relationship, that we needed actions. After we finally split up, I understood. He was saying my love wasn't enough because he didn't love me. So, yep, I wish I had this advice before. Know your worth. You shouldn't waste your time on someone who doesn't deserve you. I know my worth, and it's ducking zero mayo. You are a 10 out of 10 to me. Ops mom's tits. Stop spending your money with bullshit. I know, but depressive mania is a beach and Amazon is so easy. Don't ignore your gut. Those red flags are there for a reason. Yep, at my last colonoscopy my doctor had to take me aside and tell me to stop eating them. Semicolon. Good things won't come to you just because you want them or feel you deserve them. Getting what you want in life is a combination of hard work, intelligent choices, social awareness, natural talent, and blind goddamn luck. There is no deserve. Nothing is keeping score. If the same bad thing keeps happening to you, it's time to accept you might be the problem. No one has that bad of luck. I saw a quote the other day that rings true. If you meet an a-hole in the morning, you probably just met an a-hole. If you meet a-holes all day, you're probably the a-hole. If you have bad blood with many people and have drama constantly, you need to sit down and think you're probably the problem. My ex-best friends were like this. I never realized that most people aren't in drama like that all the time, and they were definitely the problem. What do you do when your problems are seemingly innocuous things about your personality or things you believe should be non-negotiable? That is, your opinions on matters, your lifestyle, choice of dress, or what have you? If you have to resort to asking questions about the fundamental nature, livelihood, or longevity of your romantic relationship on the internet, the chances are it's unhealthy and not going to last. You spend too much time on Reddit. I will not tolerate such slander. I'll provide you with a song quote, where you invest your love, you invest your life. Get your shit together first before doing anything else, or else you'll always be in a hole. Looks matter in a relationship. It sucks to hear, especially because media keeps trying to tell us that looks don't matter, or at least guys anyway. Women are kind of out of luck there for the most part, and I'm sorry for that, but it's the truth. I'm not saying looks are the end all be all of a relationship. They aren't. Whether or not your personalities are compatible is almost always going to be the deciding factor in any successful relationship. But the simple fact of the matter is that it's an incredibly rare thing to be in a romantic relationship with someone that you don't find at least somewhat physically attractive. Yes, it sucks. But better to hear it early and accept it than to lie to yourself and deal with that reality later in life. Best comment of the day. Violence is always a solution, and always the fastest one. There is not a single situation that cannot, somehow, be solved with violence within a fraction of the time compared with other solutions. It is also always the worst solution, with the worst outcomes, highest risks, and worst consequences down the line. If not directly for you, then at least for another. Once I learned that, a lot of the world's problems just suddenly made sense to me. But, yeah, it's one of those unpleasant truths people either recoil from or ignore.